core topics. So in psychology, you've got 3 core topics in first year, and I coordinate 2 of those, so Psych 1A and Psych 1B. And then Nathan down here, he coordinates the other core first year topic, research methods, and he's quite brilliant when it comes to research methods, so he's a good person to make sure that you know who he is to reach out to if you need any support with research methods 1. I'm also the Student Success College Lead, so that means that I'm deeply committed and invested to your success, and I'm responsible for psychology students, but then sort of all of the students in the college, regardless if you're studying psychology, education, or social work, and supporting you in your success along the way. So I really try and weave that through all of my teaching in first year, and hopefully you'll see that, but I usually highlight it in case you don't see it. And then we've got a teaching program director. The teaching program director is important to know who they are because they're concerned with all things learning and teaching in psychology. Every discipline in the college has a teaching program director. For us in psychology, it's currently Glenn Bodner. He is a wealth of knowledge. He's methodical, he's meticulous, he's incredibly caring about students. You can reach out to Glenn for things like if you need an extension that's beyond 2 weeks, or typically you don't have to reach out to your teaching program director terribly much, but in the instances, which most of the time when you do it, it'll be when you need an extension that's beyond what our topic coordinators, so topic coordinators are the people who are responsible for each topic. We have, according to the assessment policy, a certain amount of time that we can afford you in extensions. If something extenuating happens beyond typical extenuating circumstances, that's when you might need to reach out to your teaching program director. Typically, if you need to reach out to them, you and I have had a conversation already anyway, and so I can support you with who to reach out to. So I think sometimes knowing who to contact for what is really important. So it's a good idea to know that Glenn Bodner is your teaching program director, but I suspect that if you do reach out to him, you and I would already have had a conversation, so I can support you in those communications with him. Something that I think is really important to learn about first year psych is that regardless of the degree program or pathway, so regardless of which course you're enrolled in, maybe you're enrolled in the Bachelor of Psychology, maybe you're enrolled in the Bachelor of Behavioral Science, maybe you're enrolled in the Bachelor of Arts but taking the psychology pathway. Regardless, if you're studying any of these degrees, you are each other's people because you all take the same pool of psychology topics. So sometimes when I get students to chat to each other and say things like, oh, you know, what are you enrolled in? What are you taking? Sometimes if you hear someone say, oh, well, I'm taking the Bachelor of Behavioral Science, and then you hear another person say, oh, well, I'm actually taking the Bachelor of Psychology, you might think that you're doing something different from each other. And what I'm trying to get across with this slide is saying, hang on, you are still each other's people. You know, you're going to be going through the same topics by and large together. So make sure that you don't kind of categorize them as in like an out group or someone different to you. You're actually kind of doing this together in the same topics. So that's a good thing to know. To get you started, one of the most important things you need to familiarize yourself with is Okta. So Okta is the dashboard that gives you access to all of your apps. So if you go to flinders.edu.au, just the Flinders home website, in the top right-hand corner, there's a little link for students. If you click on students, it takes you to the student website. This is a website that's been designed with Flinders students for Flinders students. So it immediately populates with all the useful information that past students have said, hey, it would be really useful if you put all this stuff here. Excuse me. So things like where you can find support services, immediate access to the Compass or the portal system. So I might just exit out of our PowerPoint, and Nathan, just let me know if I lose it online. But hopefully what you can see here is, this is our, can we still see that online? Lovely, perfect. So if I just come to the Flinders University website, I'll just show you what I was just talking about there. Okay, here we go. So this is just the flinders.edu.au, top right-hand corner, students. We click on that, and here we can see immediately we're prompted, excuse me, I'm still recently recovering from COVID. Not infectious, don't worry. So here we can see log into Compass. It's a really good idea to do this because then what you get is a tailored version of the student website to you. So here immediately it recognizes me, knows me as Ali. Here's my fan, and the fan is a really important bit of information that gives you all of your login. So you often use your fan for your login information, gives you your student ID. And if you scroll down here, we can start to see some really useful information. So key links, things like fees, study supports, exam information, key dates, when you can enroll by, when's the last day to withdraw by. And if I come down here, this will start to populate with the things on Okta that I click on the most. So Okta is the dashboard that houses everything, all your apps. But then let's say that I'm always kind of going to Flow, which is your Flinders Learning Online. Every single topic that you enroll in at Flinders will have a Flow site associated with it. That'll start to populate here. So if I click on that, I'll show you what I mean. So this is my Okta dashboard, and all of these apps are useful, and your apps that you see on your Okta will be for students. Some of the ones that I have here are for staff that you won't necessarily see. But the one that I think is the most important is obviously Flow, so your Flinders Learning Online. Excuse me. Once you click on this app, it gives you access then to all of your online topics, or not just online topics, all the topics that you're enrolled in, because every topic has a Flow site. You can also see the Career Hub, another one that I think is really important. That gives you some immediate information around what kind of careers are related to psychology. What can you do with your psych degree? What kind of services are available to you to support your employability? So things like interviewing, coaching, and resume writing, and that sort of thing. So if you click on Flow, then it takes you to your homepage, and then that's where you can see all of your Flow topics that'll populate here. And it also gives you some recently accessed items. So it's a good idea to get on Flow and start using it right away. So if I come here, the Okta dashboard then is what gives you access to all your apps. If you're unsure where an app is, like let's say, for example, after this, you go looking for the Career Hub app and it's not there, excuse me. Back here on your dashboard, you can go to Add Apps. So you can just click on that, type in the app that you're looking for, and then you can add it or request it, okay? So that's a good idea to start familiarizing yourself with the Okta dashboard. Another one that I think is really useful on your dashboard is Office 365. So if you don't have your own personal version of Word or Excel or PowerPoint, these are often the programs that you'll be asked to do your assessments in. And so if you don't have access to that, you can always access a copy via your Okta dashboard. So that's a good one to remember for as well. On Flow, oh yeah, so we'll do a quick poll now. So if you guys are on the orientation app, maybe if you could just quickly answer the poll that we've got that Nathan's put up, asking you a quick question around Flow. So I'll just give you a quick second to answer the poll. What's the question, Nathan?
Well, we've got one is, have you used Moodle before? And then the second one is, how come they were using it? But maybe you can give them a bit of info and then I'll put the second one up.
Yeah, cool. So maybe jump on and answer the one, have you used Moodle before? So Moodle's the learning management software. And maybe just give me a nod once you've sort of answered the poll. And so for all of you guys joining us on the orientation app, make sure you jump in and quickly answer that poll as well. All right, I'll keep moving through. So like I said already, make sure that you check Flow at least sort of once a day. On Flow, you're gonna see a spot at the very beginning called Announcements. That's where your topic coordinators will communicate with all students. So you don't post anything in the announcements. It's just a one-way communication for the topic coordinator to share some comms or some important information with all students. Importantly, you get this as an email. So if you get an email and you see that it's been an announcement, but you're like, oh shoot, I deleted that email, I'm not really sure what the topic coordinator said, that's okay. It's not an issue because you can come back to your Flow site. And then here you can see In communication hubs, we've got announcements just there. And so you can jump into the announcements. I haven't made any announcements yet, but then all the announcements will be populated just in there, so you can find them really easily. There's three key modules on Flow that I think are worth just sort of walking through. I'm showing you the Flow site for Psych 1102, so that's Psychology 1B. And typically I can show you this from a student perspective, but we'll miss the assessment hub. So I'll just show you right now. This is what it should look like to you if you jump onto Flow. This is our Psych 1B Flow site. There's this important information about Student 19 declaration, so we can begin that declaration. It's a very quick conduct. So I've already done it, but essentially you have to go through this quiz where you read some information about face-to-face learning, answer a quick quiz that talks about socially distancing and using appropriate hygiene. Once you answer that quiz and submit, so you have to click the submit button, then you're going to get access to the assessment hub. So those three important modules are the topic information and resources module, the assessment hub, and the communication hub. You just don't see the assessment hub right now because I've popped it into student view, and one of the annoying things is that it removes my assessment hub because it treats me like I haven't done the declaration. So you don't actually get access to your assessment hub until you do that declaration. I'll jump out of student view in a moment to be able to show you what the assessment hub looks like, but I'll keep it here in student view for now just so that you can see that this is what the Flow site should look like. You can watch a quick welcome video that where Paul, Jessica, and I introduce ourselves and welcome you to the topic. Here's where you get all important information about how the topic works. So you get the topic overview, the topic information booklet, which is really important to read. Often when students have questions, by and large, we can find that the answer is within the topic information booklet. Excuse me. Then you can come down to participation expectations. This is where we clearly communicate to you how the topic works. So for Psych 1B, it works such that we have weekly modules. So you can see here, if I get out of this one down here, I've got week 1 already ready for you. So we have 5 different sections to each of the weekly modules. The first one is reflecting on the big picture, where you kind of get a bit of an idea of what that week's content's going to be about. Then you get learning the core content. This is the information that I expect you to do before you come to the workshop. And so you can then work through it one thing at a time. And then in the applying my learning, that's what we're going to do together in the workshop. Extending myself further is not accessible, but it's purely the stuff that, in case you're really interested in that week's content, we give you somewhere to take that interest and look a bit further. So that's the topic information and resources. Communication hub is where we communicate with each other. If you have questions about something like an assessment, or if you're unsure about something that you learned in one of the videos, you can put a question up in the general discussion forum. Topic coordinators check the general discussion forum every single day. So we are looking, and by and large, we usually really encourage other students to answer the questions that students post. Right? So one student might post a question about maybe something to do with perception, how we perceive the world visually. Another student might think that they've got a good idea of what the answer is to that question. So we encourage those students to then respond. One of the best ways to learn is to test out your application of your knowledge. So we really encourage students to answer each other's questions and to know that you do so in a safe place, because if you say something that might be not totally correct, that's okay, because we're constantly as topic coordinators monitoring these discussion forums. So I can always bounce in there and say, oh yeah, that's a really good idea. This is important information to consider as well. So it's a good idea to always try and answer each other's questions. If you're ever wanting to join a workshop online, you can do so through the Collaborate link, and I'll come back to that in a minute. And then, of course, we always want to hear your feedback around what's working, what we could be doing better. So if you ever have any feedback to share with us, make sure that you feel really encouraged to do so. I'm just going to jump back to my other role so that you can see the assessment hub. So just ignore everything else that you see because it's not useful for you. Here's the assessment hub. So once you do that declaration, you can jump into the assessment hub, and the assessment hub is where you can find all the information related to your assessments. So instructions, submission portals, you can do text matching software. So anytime that you want to run a draft of your work to check it for plagiarism, you can do that through the text matching software called Turnitin. It's all located in here. The statement of assessment methods is also really important. If you click on that, this is where you can see exactly what assessments you have for each of your topics and when they're due. So for us in Psych 1B, you can see that we have 3 assessments, one called participation, one called the research report, and one that are summative quizzes. It tells you how much of your total grade, the proportion of your total grade for each assessment that's weighted for each assessment. So 25% of your total topic grade comes from participation for Psych 1B. 45% then comes from the research report, and 30%, 10% for each summative quiz for your quizzes. Tells you the due dates, and then also down here, something that I think is really important is the learning outcomes. What are we trying to achieve? And from that, you can typically get a sense of the narrative of the topic. What is it that we're hoping that you get out of this topic, okay? So statement of assessment methods is a really important one to have a look. And I'll just quickly show you in here. So here is the text matching software. You can submit your drafts there to see about any plagiarism effects. Here are the assessments. So for participation, I take you through exactly what tasks you need to do to get that 25%. Here for your research report, where do you submit each part of your research report? There's the instructions. Then we have the rubric for the introduction, the rubric for the final report. And I'll go through all of this again with you in the first week in Psych 1B. So don't worry, you don't have to remember everything now. And then we have the summative quiz section. So you can see that we've got 3 of those summative quizzes. Okay, so that's everything to do with flow. So best advice, get onto flow, start exploring, start playing. You can't make any mistakes. So don't worry, you're not gonna mess anything up by getting onto flow and checking flow and playing around with flow. Lots of students at some time or another will either choose to join one of the workshops that you're enrolled in online, or you'll have to because that topic only runs in an online version. So for example, for Nathan's topic, there are no face-to-face workshops. It is purely Collaborate. So you need to start thinking about how do I actually access Collaborate and use it really effectively. So if I come back here, I'll just show you that we put the Collaborate link in the communication hub. Some people have the Collaborate link right up here in this general section. Either way, it's going to look like this. So you click on the Collaborate link, and then you'll see on Collaborate down here where it says no scheduled sessions, there will be a session scheduled, and that's where you can click on it, and then it'll say join session, and you click on the join session. I'm going to jump into this one here, and I'm going to join the course room just to show you a little bit about what Collaborate looks like. Yes, my audio is working. Yes, video is working. Okay, lovely. So this is later. This is Collaborate. Come down here and see this little purple arrow. If you open that up, it pops out this little panel. And one of the first things that you can do is start talking to everyone. So here's the chat panel in Collaborate. Here, this is what we call the Blackboard space. Excuse me, sorry. In the Blackboard space, what you'll often see are the PowerPoint slides that your topic coordinator then is working through the session. Importantly, if you hover your cursor over this little part here that looks like a little icon, a little person icon, you'll see that it shows my status and settings. If I click on that, this is where you can provide some immediate feedback to your topic coordinator. It's how you can show them that you're engaging with them. Often what I say to my first year students in psych is, everyone just jump on and give me a happy face if what I said just makes good sense. or give me a confused face if you want me to go over it again. And that's really useful because I can get some immediate information from my class, how many students want me to go over that same content again. Or I might ask you to use some immediate feedback to tell me, do you agree with the statement or the claim that we just walked through? Or if you want to tell me to go faster or slower. So this is some immediate feedback that you can give to your topic coordinator, and that's really useful. In the chat panel, it's a good idea to be aware that there are different cultures that occur across your topics. So for me, in Psych 1B, I ask my students and I say to them, please use the chat panel as though you were raising your hands in class. So it's not something to just be constantly putting your every thought that comes out in. For me, it's very much if you have a question, put it in the chat panel. If you don't have a question, then let's leave it calm and leave it quiet. However, other topics have very different cultures. For example, Nathan, in his research methods topic, it's the exact opposite. He likes students to flood the chat panel. And so he has worked to establish a culture of, hey, if you think of anything that's related to what I'm talking about right now, put it in the chat panel. I want to see it in the chat panel. So there's different cultures for different topics, and it's important that you're aware of that. Importantly, some topic coordinators will let you have access to your mic. So I always give all of my first year psych students the opportunity to use the mic, but there's some etiquette that comes with that. The etiquette is if you are speaking, so if you want to ask a question, you turn your mic on by clicking it, the green light will come on and you can see it's actually showing your levels there. As soon as you're done speaking though, it's important that you turn the mic off. Now, some topic coordinators don't give you access to the mic because they find it too challenging to kind of sort of navigate who has their mic on, or it can be too disruptive. And so again, this is important for you to learn that there are sort of these subtle different cultures that exist within Collaborate. Every topic has this course room in Collaborate, the one that we just jumped into here, and it's always located at the top of the screen. So while you're exploring on Flow, jump into Collaborate, jump into this course room. You can just join it like I did and just start playing around. Look at all the different bits. You can write in the chat panel, hello. Just start playing around, explore. The more prepared and familiar that you can feel with the software that you're using for your studies, the easier the learning is, so the more kind of cognitive space that you're going to have to focus on what they're actually teaching you, not, hey, where is this chat thing? Where do I go for this or that? Okay, the accessing recordings, it's really easy. Sorry, I'll quickly just show you where that is. Up here, when we come back here, we won't actually see any right now because there aren't any recordings. But if I click on the 3 lines here, then you can come down to recordings and click on that. And then all the recordings will populate right here. And there'll be 3 little dots. You click on those and it says download the recording. Really encourage you to do that if you're going to access the recordings through Collaborate, because they often disappear after 2 weeks. So Collaborate only houses the recordings for 2 weeks. So if you want to download and have access to the recordings, make sure you do that. For Psych 1B, I also provide you a recording every week in the Applying My Learning section. So in our weekly modules, if I come down here, it says workshop recording. So I always make sure that I download them for you. But as you move through your degree, first, second, third year, a lot of times topic coordinators don't do that for you because the expectation is that you do it for yourself, okay? Alrighty. Okay, so I've kind of already gone through a bit around how the topic works for Psych 1A and B. If you can't attend a workshop, the idea is that you can access the recording or you can participate online through Collaborate. So the Collaborate workshop runs at the exact same time as the Wednesday afternoon face-to-face time. So that's Wednesdays from 1 to 3 p.m. If you're an online student and you really want to come face-to-face, come, okay? Inevitably, we used to have to be bound by COVID restrictions and making sure that we had social distancing in place. We no longer have those restrictions. So I always say to my online students, if you can find a seat so that you're not standing in the classroom, then please come. I think students who want to come face-to-face, please feel like you can come. If you can't attend and you are a face-to-face student, you can jump on, collaborate, and join us that way, or you can watch the recording and then still have access to the content there. So yes, the workshops are recorded. Okay, next I just want to go through the 5 senses of student success with Alf Lizio, so I'll get you to watch this video.
Going to uni is exciting and challenging. It's both hard work and serious fun. One of the most important factors is starting uni with success in mind. And we've developed some powerful information to help you do that. Hi, I'm Professor Alf Lizio, and these are the 5 senses of success. Students with clear reasons for going to uni do better academically and find learning more satisfying. Those who've chosen a degree after thinking about their interests, strengths and goals have developed an invaluable resource, a sense of purpose. This helps them commit to their studies and strengthens their persistence when the work gets challenging. If you hear yourself saying things like,
I'm going to uni because it's expected. I don't have any other plans, so I might as well go to uni.
I chose this degree because my friends are doing it.
I chose this degree because my parents wanted me to.
I'm not really sure about uni, but my marks are high enough, so I may as well try it.
think about strengthening your sense of purpose. Students tell us the best ways of doing this are seeking out first-hand information about what people in certain jobs actually do by doing some work experience prior to university, finding opportunities for safe, non-judgmental and often messy conversations about your goals, interests and choices, giving yourself permission to not be sure. Talk about it and make your own decisions about what is right for you. It's about making informed choices. We know that students who make an early effort to understand how university works and what they need to do to be successful feel more resilient and less stressed. Those who leave their assumptions about uni life behind and familiarise themselves with the requirements of being a uni student have developed a valuable skill. A sense of resourcefulness helps when balancing your uni, work and social life. So, if you catch yourself thinking things like,
"It'll be right, I'll just go with the flow."
I'm not sure how I manage my time.
I'm not very good at asking for help or managing my time.
you might want to build up your resourcefulness. Students tell us they build up their sense of resourcefulness by planning how they'll approach a new learning environment and how they'll manage their time, considering all of their commitments instead of just fitting uni in, and allocating sufficient space and time for study. It's about developing realistic expectations and being proactive. Students who actively work towards becoming a successful learner tend to have greater early academic success. They take the time to understand what is involved in and what's different about learning as a uni student. Successful students develop the capacity to be more independent in their approach to studying and develop effective ways to learn new material. This is the case even if they weren't naturally learning ready and uni confident. You can think of this as a sense of capability. So, if you're thinking things like,
I'm not sure if I can do this or if I'm up to it.
Uni can't be too different to school. I'll approach it the same way.
Either you can or you can't. No point in trying anything different.
you'll know that you can strengthen your sense of capability. Other students have done this by appreciating and building on the strengths and capabilities they already have, making a commitment to learning new skills and study behaviours, seeking out the learning support services and resources available to new students. It's about developing the skills and confidence to do the job. Sticking with uni is much easier with a quality network of supportive peers and staff. Students who develop working and social relationships with other students are able to collaborate and support each other, which makes uni more enjoyable and gives them a greater sense of belonging. A sense of connection is a practical and protective resource for success. If you hear yourself saying things like,
I haven't got time to make new friends.
All my friends are outside of uni. I'm not good at meeting new people.
it might indicate a need to increase your sense of connection. Our students tell us they do this by getting to know a wide range of different people, looking for ways to collaborate or work with other students, joining clubs and societies that interest them. It's about making the effort to join in and belong to the community. Making a successful start at uni involves developing a positive belief in yourself as a university student. That's the big idea behind the 5 senses framework. A sense of identity means being able to confidently answer when people ask questions like, "Are you going to uni?" Can you answer with a sense of anticipation and pride? Does the idea of being a uni student feel right for you? Remember, if you're offered a place at university, we firmly believe that you belong and that this is the right place for you and that you can be successful here. Taking that vote of confidence on board will strengthen your sense of identity. If you find yourself thinking things like,
I'm not sure if the uni is a place for someone like me.
I wonder if my friends and family really want me to go to uni. I don't want to put too much effort into this whole uni thing.
it's an opportunity to work on your sense of identity. And just like our past students, you can do this by accepting encouragement from the people who are important to you, reminding yourself that what you do in the future is more important than anything you have or haven't done in the past. It's about taking yourself seriously. Going to uni can be one of the most rewarding and stimulating things you do in your life. You can get off to a great start by implementing these 5 simple but important elements of success. Have a think about them, discuss them with the people that are important to you, and make a plan to succeed at uni.
Okay, lovely. Oh, I better turn my mic back on. Okay, so I can't stress enough how important student success and thinking about why you're here and what you want to be doing is to your success. So everything that Alf Lizio just went through are things that I really encourage you to think about. And so on the next few slides, we have some ways that you can develop each of these senses while you're here at Flinders. So a sense of connection. While you can join a club or attend a society or think about the different groups that are available to you on campus, certainly go. We have so many clubs on campus, and you can find out more information around what clubs exist through the Flinders Orientation Platform app. But also come to class. Just coming to class, whether that's on Collaborate or whether that's face-to-face, is your absolute best way to develop a sense of connection, because undoubtedly, you're going to have lots of opportunities to chat with people every single time you come to class, right? Every time that we have a workshop together in first year psych, at least once and usually multiple times throughout the workshop, I'll say, cool, chat with your neighbor about this, chat with your neighbor about that, or go off with your neighbor for a few minutes and work out this or work out that. That's where you're gonna develop those connections with each other. So really just coming to class and engaging with your lectures, your tutorials, your workshops is your best way to develop that sense of connection. How can you develop your sense of purpose? Think about what it is that we're asking you to do when we set your assessments. When we do assessments, it's not purely because we want to look at, getting you a grade. In fact, that's usually the last thing we're thinking about. There's a degree of authenticity in what we're doing with assessments. And that authenticity is that we're trying to get you to develop and practice the skills that you need post-graduation going into your career. So thinking about what it is that you want to do post-graduation and connecting on a meaningful level with your assessments. So go to that Careers Hub app that I showed you on the Okta dashboard. Look at the Psychology Careers Guide. I'll also post that Careers Guide on our Flow site for Psych 1B. And think about where it is that you want to go. Think about what volunteering you might want to engage in. These are concepts around employability, where you're going to go post-graduation. And these are things that I talk about all throughout Psych 1B as well. So often when we're going through the core content, whether you're learning about perception, whether you're learning about personality or social psychology, I usually offer you some way that you can start thinking about, how am I going to use this in my career? Why is this information really useful? So developing that sense of purpose. Why am I here? Your sense of capability. Look, always at some point when you're studying, things can feel hard. And what we know from the evidence is that the key thing to predict student success is not necessarily your intelligence or how smart you are. It's actually about grit, how much you can persevere, how much you can push through some of those more challenging times. So developing a sense of, hey, I'm here because I have a goal. I'm using this experience to get myself somewhere else. I'm going to push through some of those harder times. And there is absolutely no shame. In fact, it's the exact opposite, having a really good approach or strategy when asking for help. So if you're unsure about what to do, if you're unsure about an assessment, if you're unsure about a topic, or even if psychology is for you, if you feel yourself developing any sort of sense of self-doubt or criticism, there are people who can help you with this. One, you can always reach out to me. Two, if you're feeling a bit low, you can think about visiting Oasis. That's our well-being center on campus. If you just Google Flinders Oasis, then that'll take you to Oasis Online. Again, I provide all these links for you in our Psych 1B topic flow site so that you can interact with the well-being center. We have free and confidential counseling services as well on campus that you can check out. You can look for feedback, go through your assessment feedback. How are you going with your topics in your assessments? When we give you feedback, as topic coordinators, we're always trying to show you what you did well so you know what to repeat again in the future, but then also how to take the feedback that you get to apply it to the next assessment as well. Your resourcefulness, sorry. So thinking about knowing where to go and who to ask for help. If you're ever unsure and you have a question and you're not really sure who to contact, there's one email address that's always really useful. It's askflinders@flinders.edu.au. So that's askflinders, all one word. You can send them any question, any general inquiry, and they'll know who to send that email to. So thinking about where you can go to find help, exploring on Flow, and if you're ever unsure, check out the Ask Flinders. Also, ask your mates. Even if you're not like proper friends with people in class, turn to someone in class and say, hey, do you know where I can find this or where I can find that? People like being able to support each other. It gives us a little boost as well when you do that. So know that you can help or you can get help from each other. And there's this other idea of university culture. So engaging with the space, engaging with the resources that we have available to you. So thinking like, going to O Week like you are today. I'm going to reach out to you guys in the week for Connect Week, engaging with the events that we have available. Join the clubs or societies. Treat Flinders like your home, right? When you get home, you probably kick off your shoes, maybe open the fridge door, maybe jump on the couch, turn on the TV, whatever your routine is, start treating Flinders like your home. Explore the nooks and crannies, go for a walk along the lake, check out the student hub, know the people who serve you coffee, introduce yourselves. If you start to feel comfortable here, you're much more likely to feel engaged and safe here, and that's certainly what we endeavor to support you doing. Okay, last thing before we finish off for today and give you opportunities to ask questions is jump on the chat panel for all of you guys who are engaging online. Have a quick couple of minutes to introduce yourself and then just leave a note around what are you most excited about for studying and any questions or concerns that you might have. And while you're doing that, I'll also just open it up to any questions that you might have for first year psych or your psych degree or what you're doing that you've come to the psych information session. So any questions from anyone? Nathan will moderate the ones that we get online, but do you guys in the face-to-face room have anything as well? No? I look forward to seeing you all. We start next week, so this is orientation week. You've got access to our flow site. You've got access to week 1. I usually send a weekly email. So what I'll do is in about 45 minutes, I'll probably send you your first one for orientation week, just saying hello, welcome. You'll get that as an email. Then next week, I'll say, hey, welcome to week 1. Here's your to-do list for this week. So I actually give you a to-do list and it just takes you through the week 1 module so that you can know exactly what you need to do and have done so you can feel prepared for our workshop when you come on Wednesday. All right. It was lovely to see you all. Sorry that you kind of just stood there and listened to me speak for the whole time. I promise you when you're in our week 1 workshop for psych, you'll speak to each other much more. All right. Lovely to see you guys. I hope you have a great rest of your orientation day. Alrighty. Any questions from the online crew? No? Excuse me. Okay.